There's a universal truth we all need to embrace. You are not stuck. You are not bound by your past, your fears, or your circumstances. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the willingness to take control. But most people never do. Not because they can't, but because they let 5 things hold them back. The first is fear of change. We are creatures of habit. We hold on to what's familiar, even when it doesn't serve us. We resist stepping into the unknown because we mistake comfort for security, but real security isn't found in routines that keep you small. It's found in the ability to trust yourself, to embrace change, and to know that life will support you when you align with your highest self. Life is in a constant state of motion. Everything around us, nature, the seasons, the universe itself, is always evolving. Yet, when it comes to our own lives, we resist change. We hold on to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves us. We convince ourselves that staying in the same place, doing the same things, and thinking the same thoughts will keep us safe. But what if I told you that real security is not found in the comfort of the known? It's found in the willingness to embrace the unknown. Most people never take control of their lives because they let fear of change dictate their choices. They stay in relationships that no longer bring them joy, jobs that drain their energy, and routines that keep them stagnant. Not because they don't want more, but because stepping into something new feels uncertain. The mind tells them, what if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? What if I lose what I have? And so they stay where they are, not realizing that the real risk is in never taking the step forward. But let's consider something for a moment. Every great shift in your life, the moments of growth, the times when you truly expanded, came when you stepped into the unknown, when you moved beyond your comfort zone. Growth does not happen in the safety of what you already know. It happens when you stretch beyond it. Think about a time when you were forced to change. Maybe life pushed you, an unexpected event, a challenge, a loss, and suddenly you had to navigate new territory. And yet, looking back, wasn't that the moment that made you stronger? Didn't it reveal something about yourself that you wouldn't have discovered otherwise? The truth is, we are not afraid of change itself. We are afraid of the discomfort that comes with it. But discomfort is not something to avoid. It's a sign that you're growing. When you start a new workout routine, your muscles feel sore at first, but that soreness is proof that you are getting stronger. The same applies to life. The discomfort of change is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that transformation is happening. We have been conditioned to believe that if something is unfamiliar, it must be dangerous. But what if the opposite is true? What if staying the same is the real danger? What if refusing to grow means missing out on the life that was meant for you? There is a version of you, a greater, more expanded version, waiting on the other side of your fear. But you will never meet that version of yourself unless you are willing to move beyond where you are now. Some people will say, I want to change, but I don't know where to start. And the answer is simple. Start where you are. You don't need to have the entire path figured out. You don't need to know every step before you take the first one. Life doesn't work that way. It unfolds as you move. The moment you decide to change, the moment you commit to something greater, life begins to align with that decision. Opportunities arise, people show up, the path reveals itself, but nothing happens until you take that first step. That's why the biggest illusion is waiting until you feel ready. Because if you wait for fear to disappear before you act, you will wait forever. Fear does not go away before you take action. It goes away because you take action. So ask yourself, where in my life am I holding back because I'm afraid to change? Is it in your career, your relationships, your habits? What is that one thing you know deep inside you need to do, but you've been putting it off because it feels uncomfortable? That's your path. That's your next step. The greatest power you have is the ability to decide. You can decide right now that fear will no longer control you. You can decide to step into the unknown, to trust that life will support you, and to believe that the best version of yourself is waiting on the other side of your willingness to grow. You were not meant to stay the same, you were meant to evolve. And everything you desire, everything you are capable of becoming, begins the moment you stop letting fear hold you back and start moving toward the life you were meant to live. From the moment we are born, we are taught to look outside ourselves for validation. We grow up hearing what we should be, how we should act, what success looks like, and what it means to be worthy. Over time, these external voices become the voice in our own mind, shaping the way we see ourselves, and somewhere along the way we begin to doubt. We begin to believe that we are not enough. But I want you to understand something. Self-doubt is an illusion. It is not real. It is a conditioned belief, a thought that was given to you, not something you were born with. No child comes into this world doubting their worth. No baby questions whether they deserve love or whether they are capable of greatness. They simply exist, fully present, fully trusting in themselves and in life. So what changed? Somewhere along the way, someone told you that you weren't smart enough, talented enough, strong enough, good enough. And maybe they didn't say it outright. Maybe it was in the way they looked at you, the way they dismissed your dreams, the way they made you feel small. And so you started carrying that doubt as if it were your own. You started seeing yourself through the lens of limitation instead of possibility. But here's what you must remember. Just because you have a thought does not mean it's true. Self-doubt is nothing more than a story you've been telling yourself. And if you can tell yourself a story of limitation, you can just as easily tell yourself a story of power. You can shift your perspective, rewrite the narrative, and choose to believe in your own infinite potential. Think about all the times in your life when you were afraid to try something because you thought you weren't ready. And then when you finally did it, you realized you were far more capable than you had believed. That's because ability is not what holds us back. It's our perception of our ability. The greatest limitations are not the ones outside of us. They are the ones we impose upon ourselves. Most people wait for confidence before they take action. They think, once I feel ready, then I'll go after what I want. But confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you develop by moving forward despite your doubts. The people who succeed, the ones who take control of their lives, are not the ones who never feel fear or uncertainty. They are the ones who feel it and take action anyway. Look at the people you admire, those who seem fearless, those who have created extraordinary lives. Do you think they never had self-doubt? Of course they did, but they refused to let it define them. They understood that doubt is just noise, and they chose to listen to something deeper. They chose to listen to that quiet inner voice that says, you are capable, you are worthy, you are more than enough. And you have that same voice within you. It may have been drowned out by years of conditioning, but it is still there waiting for you to hear it again. The moment you stop giving power to doubt is the moment you start stepping into who you were meant to be. So ask yourself, what would I do if I truly believed in myself? What choices would I make? What risk would I take? What dreams would I pursue? Because that is the real you, the you that exists beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond the limiting beliefs you have carried for so long. No one is coming to give you permission to be great. No one is going to step in and erase your doubts for you. That is your job. And you do it by deciding right here, right now, that you are enough. Not when you achieve something, not when someone else validates you, not when life looks a certain way, but now. You were born with everything you need. You do not have to become someone else to be worthy. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. You simply have to remember who you are. And when you do, when you finally let go of the doubt that has held you back for so long, you will realize something powerful. You were never lacking. You were never unworthy. You were never anything less than enough. One of the greatest traps in life is living for the approval of others. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation, to be good students, to be well-behaved, to fit in, to make others proud. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting to be accepted, the problem arises when we begin shaping our entire existence around the expectations of others. when we silence our own desires just to meet someone else's definition of success. Think about how many choices in your life were influenced by what other people might think. The dreams you abandoned because they weren't practical. The opinions you kept to yourself because you were afraid of judgment. The parts of yourself you hid just to fit in. And for what? To gain approval from people who may never truly understand you? To live a life that feels safe but not fulfilling? Most people never take control of their lives because they are trapped in this endless cycle of seeking validation. In this cycle of seeking validation, they chase things that don't bring them joy. They mold themselves into versions that are acceptable to others but unrecognizable to themselves, and deep down they feel the emptiness that comes with it. Because no amount of external approval can ever replace the feeling of living in alignment with who you really are. But here's the truth. You do not need permission to be yourself. You do not need the world to agree with you in order to pursue what sets your soul on fire. The most powerful people in history, the ones who changed the world, the ones who live with passion and purpose, were not the ones who waited for approval. They were the ones who had the courage to stand in their truth, even when it was unpopular, even when it made others uncomfortable. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you become free. Free to make decisions based on what truly matters to you. Free to follow your intuition instead of external expectations. Free to live a life that is your own, not one designed to impress others. But letting go of this need is not always easy, because when you stop living for approval, something happens. People start questioning you. They might resist your choices. They might not understand your path. And that's okay. Not everyone will understand you, and they don't have to. It is not your job to make others comfortable with your life. It is your job to be true to yourself. Ask yourself, am I making choices because they align with my soul or because they make others happy? Am I living my life or am I performing a role that was handed to me? Because the difference between those two paths is the difference between fulfillment and regret. When you live for approval, you give away your power. You let others dictate your worth. But when you choose yourself, when you decide that your own happiness and authenticity matter more than fitting in, that is when you truly take control. And here's something remarkable. The moment you stop seeking approval, you start attracting the right people into your life, the ones who see you for who you really are, the ones who support your journey instead of trying to mold you into someone else. Because when you stand in your truth, you create space for the right energy, the right relationships, and the right opportunities to enter your life. No one else is living your life but you. No one else will feel what you feel at the end of the day. So why let the opinions of others hold more weight than your own? Why live for someone else's approval when the only approval you ever needed was your own? You are here for a reason. You have a unique path, a unique purpose. And you will never fully step into it until you let go of the need to be liked, to be accepted, to be understood by everyone. Not everyone will get it. Not everyone will support you, and that is okay, because the only thing that truly matters is that you support yourself. Your life is yours. Live it on your terms. The past is a place most people never truly leave. They carry it with them everywhere they go, letting old experiences, mistakes, and regrets shape their present. They replay past failures, dwell on missed opportunities, and allow the weight of what was to determine what is. And in doing so, they give power to something that no longer exists. But here's the truth. The past has no power over you unless you choose to hold on to it. It is nothing more than a collection of memories, moments that have already come and gone. Yet so many people stay trapped in it, reliving pain that no longer needs to be felt, defining themselves by things they can no longer change. We have all made mistakes. We have all experienced loss, disappointment, and moments where we wish we had chosen differently. But the problem is not in what happened. The problem is in our unwillingness to let go. Because as long as we are looking backward, we cannot move forward. As long as we are holding on to what was, we are not fully embracing what is. Think about how much energy is wasted carrying the past. How often do you revisit an old wound, replay a painful conversation, or let an old failure dictate what you believe is possible for you now? It's like carrying a heavy bag everywhere you go, one filled with guilt, resentment and regret. And every time you try to take a step forward, that weight pulls you back. But here's what you must understand. You are not your past. You are not the mistakes you made. You are not the person you were when you didn't know what you know now. Every experience, every challenge, every setback was simply a lesson, a moment in time that helped shape who you are today. And once a lesson has been learned, there is no need to keep reliving it. Holding on to the past is like reading the same chapter of a book over and over again and wondering why the story isn't changing. But the story cannot change until you decide to turn the page, until you choose to release what no longer serves you and allow yourself to step fully into the present moment. Some people hold on to the past because they believe it defines them. They think that because they failed before, they will fail again, that because something hurt them once, they must always guard themselves against being hurt again. But this is an illusion. The past is not proof of the future. What happened before does not determine what happens next unless you allow it to. Every single day you have a choice. You can wake up and let your past dictate your life, or you can wake up and decide that today is a new beginning, that you are not bound by old stories, old identities, old pain, that you can step into the next chapter of your life without carrying everything that came before it. Forgiveness is a powerful part of this process, not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. How often do we hold ourselves hostage to past choices, punishing ourselves over and over again for things we cannot change? But the truth is, you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. And now that you know better, you can do better. Growth is not about regret. It's about learning, evolving, and moving forward. So ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What story from my past am I allowing to define me? And most importantly, am I willing to let it go? Because the moment you decide to release the past, you create space for something new. You open yourself to possibilities that were always there, but were hidden behind the weight of yesterday. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can change how you move forward. You can choose to carry the past like a burden, or you can choose to let it be what it was, just a chapter, not the whole story. And the moment you decide to free yourself from the past, you step fully into the only moment that ever truly matters, this one. One of the greatest illusions that hold people back is the belief that they need to wait for the perfect time. They tell themselves that they will start when they have more money, when they feel more confident, when life is less chaotic, when the conditions are just right, and so they wait. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into years, and before they know it, they are still standing in the same place, still holding on to the same dreams, still making the same excuses. But here's what you must understand. There is no perfect time. Life will never slow down and hand you the ideal conditions. You will never wake up one day feeling completely ready with every obstacle removed and every fear erased. That moment does not exist. Because the truth is, waiting is just another form of fear. It is fear dressed up as logic, convincing you that postponing your dreams is the responsible thing to do. Think about it. How many things have you put off, not because you couldn't start, but because you kept telling yourself, not yet. Maybe you wanted to start a new career, but you thought you needed more experience. Maybe you wanted to begin a fitness journey, but you told yourself you needed the right equipment first. Maybe you wanted to pursue a passion, but you convinced yourself that life was too busy. But when does someday actually come? For most people, it never does. The people who take control of their lives are not the ones who wait for the perfect time. They are the ones who start where they are with what they have. They understand that action creates readiness, not the other way around. You do not become confident by waiting. You become confident by doing. You do not become successful by preparing endlessly. You become successful by taking the first step and learning as you go. Look at the people who have achieved great things. They did not begin when everything was easy. They did not wait until they had every answer. They started despite their fears, despite the uncertainty, despite the imperfect conditions. They understood that life rewards those who take action, not those who wait. The mind will always try to convince you that you need more time, that you need more preparation, more clarity, more certainty. But the mind is simply trying to keep you safe. It is designed to resist change, to keep you in what feels familiar. But familiarity does not lead to growth. The only way to move forward is to act even when you don't feel completely ready. You may be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I make mistakes? What if things don't go as planned? And the answer is simple. You will fail. You will make mistakes. Things will not always go as planned. But that is not a reason to wait. It is a reason to begin. Because every mistake is a lesson. Every failure is a stepping stone, and every wrong turn is simply part of the path. Success is not about perfection, it is about persistence. The people who achieve their dreams are not the ones who got everything right from the start, they are the ones who kept going when things didn't go right. They are the ones who adjusted, learned, and continued moving forward when others gave up. So ask yourself, what have I been putting off? What have I convinced myself I need to wait for? And more importantly, what would happen if I stopped waiting and started now? Because everything you want, everything you are capable of becoming, begins the moment you stop telling yourself, not yet. Life is happening now. The time will pass, whether you take action or not. And one day you will look back and realize that the only thing that ever stood between you and the life you wanted was the decision to begin. So don't wait for the perfect time. There is only this moment. And this moment is enough. Most people live their lives bound by invisible chains. Chains of fear, self-doubt, past regrets, and the need for approval. But perhaps the strongest chain of all, the one that keeps them from ever truly taking control of their lives, is the fear of change. Change is uncomfortable. It is unpredictable. It requires us to step into the unknown, to let go of the familiar, and to trust in something we cannot yet see. And for many people, that is terrifying. So they resist. They stay in jobs they don't love, relationships that drain them, routines that no longer serve them, simply because it feels safer than stepping into something new. But what they don't realize is that resisting change does not stop life from changing. Life is always moving. The world around you is shifting, evolving, transforming, whether you embrace it or not. And the more you resist, the more you suffer. Because nothing is more painful than holding on to something that is meant to be released. Think about all the times you have avoided change. Maybe you stayed in a situation long after you knew it was no longer right for you. Maybe you ignored your intuition, convincing yourself that things would somehow fix themselves. Maybe you let fear talk you out of taking a leap that could have led to something extraordinary. And in the end, did avoiding change bring you peace, or did it keep you stuck? Most people don't fear change itself. They fear what it might bring. What if I fail? What if I lose something valuable? What if things don't turn out the way I hope? But what if you succeed? What if you gain something far greater than you ever imagined? What if change is not something to fear, but something to embrace? Every great transformation begins with a decision to let go of the old and step into the new. It is in change that we grow. It is in change that we discover who we truly are. The most fulfilled people are not the ones who cling to the past, but the ones who welcome the unknown. Because they understand that life is not meant to be stagnant. It is meant to be a continuous unfolding, a journey of expansion and discovery. The truth is, you cannot control everything. You cannot predict exactly how things will unfold. But you can control how you respond to change. You can choose to see it as an opportunity instead of a threat. You can choose to trust that even if you don't have all the answers now, they will reveal themselves as you move forward. Some people wait for change to happen to them. They wait until they are forced to move, until life pushes them so hard that they have no choice but to adapt. But those who truly take control of their lives don't wait for change. They create it. They make bold decisions. They trust their instincts. They step forward even when they don't know exactly where the path will lead. Ask yourself, what change have I been avoiding? What have I been clinging to out of fear? And what would happen if I finally let go? Because the life you want, the freedom you seek, the growth you crave, it is all on the other side of change. It is waiting for you to take that first step. Change is not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. The only thing standing in your way is the belief that you are not ready, but you are. You always have been. And the moment you stop resisting change and start embracing it, you will realize that life was never meant to hold you back. It was meant to set you free. Life is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. Every moment, every decision, every thought shapes the direction of your journey. And the truth is, most people never take control because they are trapped by their own limitations. Fear, self-doubt, the need for approval, the weight of the past, the illusion of perfect timing, and the resistance to change. But these are not unbreakable chains. They are illusions, stories you have been told or have told yourself. And the moment you recognize them for what they are, you take back your power. You are not meant to live a life of hesitation, regret, or waiting. You are meant to step fully into who you are, to embrace your path with courage, to make decisions based on what sets your soul on fire, not on what keeps you safe. The only permission you ever needed was your own. The only person who can change your life is you. So I leave you with this. Do not wait for the perfect time. It does not exist. Do not seek approval. It is not needed. Do not let your past define you. It has always been within you. Seek to change the doorway to your greatest potential. Your life is yours to shape, yours to design, yours to live on your terms. Make the choice today. Take control, step into your power, and most importantly, never forget that everything you need has always been within you. Good luck on your journey, and thank you.